سلامي لقوم كرام بدوا في الظلام كبدر التمام أتينا لشارق.
In these times of tension, fear, frustration, and disillusionment about the leadership of our societies, it is very easy for us to move into a tendency where we overestimate how bad others are and we underestimate how bad we are and how much we contribute to the challenges of our society. This is not helpful. It's not long-term thinking. It fails to recognize the wolf in sheep's clothing. In both Islam and Christianity, one of the worst types of human beings is the hypocrite. The one who acts as if he is good, whereas in reality, they're really bad and harmful. We need to be very careful we don't slide into hypocrisy, where we believe we're good and others are bad, when we're just like others. Good and bad. If you honestly believe that another ethnic group, another tribe, another religious community is the problem of your community, then let's look at the data more carefully. Let's be honest. Our communities are run by our own judges, our own lawyers, most of whom, the majority of whom are our people belonging to our own region, our own ethnic group, our own religious community. So if you want to look at the small and medium criminals in Nigeria, the small and medium sources of corruption that mess up this country, look into your own prisons and see who did your own judges of your ethnicity, of your religious affiliation, who did they put in the prisons? And is it surprising to find that the majority of prisoners in Sokoto are people from Sokoto, are coming from that ethnic group and that religious majority? Is it surprising that the criminals in the prisons in Onitsha are coming from that ethnic community, that region, and belong to that majority religious community? Is it surprising that the majority of criminals in Lagos are Lagosians and the majority of criminals in Borno are Kanuri? Or that where Tiv are a majority, they are the majority of criminals in their own communities, and where Nupes are a majority, the majority of people in prisons are Nupes? That's my ethnic community. If our own judges, our own lawyers have sentenced our own people and recognize them as the majority of the small and medium criminals, then why are we pointing elsewhere? Why don't we look in the mirror and recognize we're just as bad as others and hopefully just as good as others, but others are not worse than us and others are not our biggest problems. The population of our prisons would tell us who are our biggest problems when we come to the small and medium crime. Let's look at the bigger crime, the huge, gigantic criminals, those who steal billions, those who steal in dollars. Where do they come from? Look at your state. Look at anyone who you know most likely or definitely stole billions or stole in dollars. And which religious community does he or she belong to? Your own. Which ethnic group do they belong to? Your own. Which region in this country do they belong to? Your own. In other words, whether you look at the small and medium crime and corruption or you look at the huge and gigantic crime and corruption, your people are your biggest problem. Our people are our biggest problem. Let us not start blaming our minorities for all our woes and problems, that it is the other religious minority, the other ethnic minority, the other people that are the problem. Let us recognize when we are now turning to be the wolf in sheep's clothing, when we are the biggest wolves in our own community, and yet we want to pretend the problem is in another place. Let us not pretend that we are all sheep. We are the biggest wolves of our own community. Let us not see the speck in the eye of the other and forget about the log of wood that is in our own eye. Let us not, out of hatred, deviate from what is just and fair. Without justice, supported by truth, without sincerity, we will not have a nation where peace and justice shall reign.
لقوم كرام بدوا